having priorities doesn't always mean that those priorities are perfect and ever present in our life. It does mean sometimes you're choosing work over being a mum, or you're prioritizing your kids over working. Yeah. Do you experience guilt in those moments, and how do you kind of manage that?
Yes. You do get better at it, but the guilt never goes away. And again, a really important message for all parents watching or listening to this podcast is that the guilt just means you care.
That's a really nice reframe.
It's important to you, so you care. But the reason why you're doing what you're doing is because you care. And if you didn't care, then it wouldn't hurt or feel the way it does. I exercised at 4:30 this morning because my hat needs to be monitored in that area as well as it needs to be monitored in the family area. There's so many hats that I'm wearing, and if I don't fill my cup up, I can't service to the degree that I'm capable of servicing. And my greatest asset is my service, whether that be to my community online, my in-house clients, my team, or my family. My greatness is my service. And in order to be able to be at my potential, I need to look after me. So remembering why you're doing something is so important. And filling your cup up can look so different to someone else. But filling my cup up is being healthy, looking after my body, having an outlet to just decompress. Also socializing, I have a small network of friends, but they are very genuine relationships and connections, and making sure that I nurture those friendships as well. My husband is number one. We are a team before our kids. We come first before our children. We lead the family or the unit as a unity. And that's another thing, is putting time into our marriage and consistently nurturing and working on that. It then ricochets back to the children, and you'll get those little glimpses where my older two sons, they are like 8 and 7 now. So they recognize things, they're looking at things, they're observing a lot, and they're constantly like, Mum, I just want to be strong like you. My mum is so strong. My mum is amazing. She's so beautiful. She's so happy. They think I can sing. I can't. But they are saying these things, and it's just their cognitive development, but they're saying these things not because I am strong. It's because I am confident and happy, and the energy I'm bringing home and the type of parenting, the energy I'm parenting them with is something that they're loving. And just the way they explain it is just however they want to explain it and articulate it for their own little brains. But they genuinely react to what I am as a everyday parent. And that's why it's important to me to look after myself.
Yeah.
Because they see that, they're watching that. The little ones, the triplets we call them, they're a bit too young, but I've got so much patience for them.
Yeah.
Because I'm not tired. I'm not in that way. I'm not feeling unproductive. I'm not feeling out of balance. I'm not unhealthy. Mm-hmm. I'm not unhappy in my friendships or my work life or my marriage. I'm coming home and I'm really happy.
Yeah. This is definitely like it's really good advice for people who struggle with putting themselves first, or maybe you're listening to this podcast and you've decided that in 2025, you want to start prioritizing those things that fill your cup. Reframing it to think, okay, well, if I do this first, then I can better serve as a daughter, a mother, an entrepreneur, in my career, whatever it is. Like, you can actually show up the way you want. It's identifying what those things are. And so the name of the show is The Balance Theory. And that's actually a concept in and of itself, which is basically what we're talking about. And that is, I say you've got to look at the main key areas of your life, which are your health, your relationships, and your fulfillment. Those 3 areas are like garden beds. And the reason I use the analogy of a garden, first of all, is we look at what's your sun and water, right? What are the bare essentials those garden beds need in order to survive? So for your health, for you, like, it sounds like it's your fitness routine, maybe your nutrition as well. For me, I'd throw in some meditation for my own personal balance. Then relationships, it's just quality time with people I care about. I have a list. They're my immediate family and my couple of girlfriends. It's really shrunk down over the years. Your fulfillment is your work and your hobbies and things you love, reading, whatever else fits in there. The other reason I call it garden beds is because different gardens have different seasons. So you may have one that's like winter fruit and veg. That is like if work gets really busy, it's a work season, and that might need a little bit more TLC. But what I found in the past and what happens to me, and I think how we get to burnout a lot of the time, is we go all in on the work category, we neglect everything else, and that's how we fall out of balance, right? That's how we get to burnout.
Absolutely.
So the point of having the sun and the water, your non-negotiables for each of the areas, is to say, I'm going to allow myself to go all in on work and make this kind of the priority, but I'm not going to neglect the other two because I have the non-negotiables, which, by the way, should just be like 2 or 3 things. You don't want a 10-page list because that's when it gets overwhelming. It's just those really simple things. It could be 10 minutes of movement if you don't have time, but it's getting clear on those. And for me, that's how you kind of maintain your balance. And it's a shifting concept, and those non-negotiables may change as different periods of your life go on, but it kind of gives me this clarity on my priorities whilst allowing me to be flexible as time goes on.
It's a flexible mindset, absolutely. Yeah. But that I'm an analogy person. That speaks to me.
Did you like the garden?
I love the garden. And I'm listening to you and picturing where this fits with me and just thinking when I have big projects coming up, I know there's a finish line, but in order to balance it out, because I know I'm going to have to put all this energy into work at the moment, I book a holiday.
Nice.
With my family, and I know I'm working towards something, and I'm going to get this uninterrupted period with my kids that is going to fill my cup up in the area that I know I'm neglecting right now, but it's just for a short period of time. Yep. And that is winter, I guess.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that.
Yeah, it just gives you kind of that grace with yourself, because sometimes you do have to compromise and you do have to pick and choose, and you do feel like you're missing out. But just having that clarity on your priorities, I feel, just gives you that feeling of control, right? Like you're not 100% neglecting, you're buffering it out in other ways. There's also a second category of priorities. The first one's your non-negotiables. The second are your wants. So let's say you have this garden bed. If you were to add some fertilizer, that's not a make or break. The garden's probably going to survive without it, but it will thrive more with some fertilizer, with some bees that come to pollinate. It sounds like I'm a massive green thumb. I'm not actually. I just love the analogy. That would be like extra things. So for me, that's like if I can get a sunset walk in after my day of work, I just love doing that. I love catching the sunset and being outside when that happens. It's not going to make or break my balance, but it's a value add. Yeah. So I kind of have this second tier of things that I like to put on my schedule. What that's helped me do is be very selective with how I'm spending my time, because I used to be a yes person, people pleaser. I'd say yes to 100 coffees, and I was just spending my time doing all these things and with people that didn't really add to my core. And so as time has gone on, I've kind of used this 2-tier approach to make sure that how I'm spending my time is how I want to be spending it. The pain point for a lot of people when they want to do new things, whether it be fitness or a side hustle or a business or any change, is they don't have time. But when you actually look at how you're spending your time and you document that and you work out how you want to be spending it and you start cross-checking, it's quite eye-opening.
Yeah, I love that so much.
Thanks.
I think I can take a little bit more into my life from that.
Oh, definitely. I'm honoured.
Yeah.
If you guys enjoyed this clip, then you are bound to love the entire episode I did with this guest. I'm going to put a link to it up on the screen now, and make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you don't miss any future episodes.